This is the sound video in English regarding the video I made in Danish. And in that video I talked about PTSD and C-PTSD. With trauma, you can get PTSD, and with childhood trauma, you often end up with C-PTSD. When people hear the word PTSD, they often automatically think of a soldier, someone who has been to war and seen horrific things. Well, let me enlighten you. I can tell you that PTSD can happen because of a lot of different things. I'm going to talk about PTSD and C-PTSD in this sound video. They are not exactly the same, that's why. So, with PTSD, you sometimes feel really isolated and disconnected. You especially feel disconnected regarding friends and family because the people around you don't really get it. It's just like when you've been in a narcissistic relationship. People from the outside world don't really get it. You experienced something that made you the way you are now. It's the same with PTSD. And sometimes you just want to hide away from the outside world. People also don't get that. And it's no matter what you are going to attend to, if it's your mom's birthday or a wedding or another important family event or something like that. And people don't really get it. And they're like, what happened to this joyful person you once were? That outgoing and humorous person, where did they go? Well, the thing is that PTSD have these triggers. So as a person with PTSD, you want to avoid anything that can trigger you. And it can be places or sound or activities and stuff like that. With PTSD, you relive the event. And you also relive the pain from that event. That's why you sometimes can come across as a bit aggressive or a bit grumpy. All the pain you have with PTSD is inside you. And it's so hard for others to get this. And it's also really hard on you. And you have all these conflicting emotions because you miss the old you. And you also have to realize that the future that you dreamed of are gone. All the dreams you had, all the plans you had are no longer realistic. So you feel kind of hopeless and you miss the life you had before this PTSD. And that's just how it is. And I suffer from PTSD, so I know what I'm talking about. Let's talk about C-PTSD. There's a lot of research regarding this. C-PTSD happens when there is a long period of traumatic events. When a child grows up or lives in an unsafe environment with abuse and violence and stuff like that, they most likely get C-PTSD. If you want to learn more about childhood trauma, please listen to the sound video that I made regarding this. So, the child here suffers from nightmares, and the child also gets flashbacks, and the child is in a constant state of fear. So, the child is a little scanner. It scans the surroundings all the time. And the child is also kind of hypersensitive. With C-PTSD, the child hasn't really gotten a true self. This true self is wiped away due to all the chaos and all the drama and all the unsafe environment. So the child also has all these voices inside its head, and those voices are telling it that it's worthless, that it is of no use, and stuff like that. And when this child becomes an adult, it self-blame. It's like, why didn't I leave? Why didn't I run? Why didn't I fight back? This adult with this childhood trauma and this C-PTSD has a really hard time. And it also has a really hard time building good connections, because things like intimacy or kissing or hugging are almost impossible. And then there are all the thoughts about self-harming and giving up, and some can even get psychosis. That's how bad this is. The abuse can be inside and outside the home. And outside can be things like war, and perhaps the child was a child warrior. Or perhaps, there have been documentaries about small children in India living on the street. That gives C-PTSD, that's for sure. And another thing regarding these kids are that they can develop learning disabilities and have behavioral issues and have kind of a reckless way of treating others, and also a very bad way regarding themselves. And when they grow older, they can be scared, and that can show up as anxiety, as shaking, as nausea, or a heavy heart beating and stuff like that. Yeah. When you have PTSD, you have a sense of who you are and who you were before this happened. So you have a self and you have a identity. When you have C-PTSD, you don't have a real self. The childhood trauma ripped you of that. So let me put it in a very simple term. With PTSD, you want to have your old life back, and you want to become who you used to be. With C-PTSD, you search after the missing piece. And this piece can never be found because you didn't create it. Ouch. You can heal from PTSD and C-PTSD. It's two different techniques. And the thing is that the brain also gets affected from PTSD and C-PTSD. I will put it in the text regarding this sound video because, as always, time are running out. When we talk about narcissism, the brain gets affected, and we talk about amygdala and hippocampus. Regarding PTSD, the frontal cortex also gets affected. Prefrontal cortex. I hope this video helped. As always, please stay safe and take care. Promise me that. Bye.